Good evening, everybody. Now, I'm just a simple man, and my name is Noah Foster, and welcome to the first episode of a new series I'm going to experiment with and try out called A Simple Man's Rant in Wrestling. As you all know, I'm just a simple man and a lifelong fan of wrestling. And I start off every week, Monday morning, wishing the entire world / wrestling community a great day and who's ready for a new week by establishing what I watch in wrestling every week on a weekly basis. From your pro wrestling to your sports entertainment to your fun internet series. So, what this series is going to do is give you a quick ran of what I have seen this week in wrestling and entertainment and sports entertainment, and just a quick thought or two from each thing. So, for those of you who don't know, I go beyond just wrestling, professional wrestling. There are some fun internet series I do follow, and one of them, of course, is Being the Elite. Elite. The Elite. Sorry about that. Anyway, this episode Being the Elite, as you could guess, it foreshadowed the events that took place at AEW All Out. And personally, I thought AEW All Out was a spectacular, fun show. And it was all about the backstage, atmosphere and the prep and the antics. And of course, we had our referee. But I will say this: it also gave a telling closure to what Heyman and Page was feeling after his match. And then we saw Chris Jericho celebrate and basically just told everybody, "You should be thanking me. You're welcome. Hey, I'm your champion." Okay, no one's gonna thank me? That's fine. I'll thank myself. I'll celebrate with myself. A little bit of the bubbly. We also saw some of the inner workings of the stage and met Hunter Horse Helmsley. Boo. That's a horrible pun in my opinion. And we also, of course, saw more in the return of freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. So again, I thought it was another fun episode, of course, being as always. It is how I start off my week. Excuse me. Following that, I also now watch Villain Enterprises TV, which is a fun stage Marty Scurll stars that just gives you a little bit of idea in the life of Marty Scurll, the villain, whoop whoop, a wrestler that I hugely support from Ring of Honor. And basically, they fired their fourth guy, Flip Gordon, for having a steak. Well done. How y'all like your steak? I personally like my steak medium rare. Again, fun little series. Then we go into Monday Night Raw. Now, as you all know, Monday Night Raw is heavily being foretold by two things: the King of the Ring tournament and the Universal Champion and co-tag team champion and the other tag team champion. Basically, it's centered around Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins as we try and figure out the rest of our card. But of course, we continue King of the Ring as well. When I think about Raw, I think about it like this. You can rant about it, you can talk about it, you can review it, but everybody's got at least one or two thoughts from it. And that's what I want to do with this series. I don't want to necessarily give you a full-length review, because I feel like that's way too long, but I just want to give my key points based on what I saw. So, the key things I took away from this show were the following, and I'm going to give you guys 4 things. First off, they are desperate for ratings, desperate for attention, desperate for sales. This is the only reason you're bringing back Stone Cold. Yeah, sure, he has his own show, but let's be honest. Sales have not been that good for this place. And you're at Madison Square Garden, the Mecca. After all this time you came and sell it out, push the red button, panic time to bring in Stone Cold Steve Austin. Because apparently we're going to get this contract signed no matter what. It's going to be Seth and Braun defending the tag championships against Bobby Roode. Yes, I call him Bobby Roode. And Dolph Ziggler. And yeah, Dawson already said that. Sorry, he's forgettable sometimes. He's just utility. Let's face it. He's there for the money. Anyway. And then AJ's in the fold now. OC, California. Horrible name. Don't care for it. King of the Ring matches, I thought they were okay to say the least. I felt like Ziggler and Rouge should have had a better match than just Ryder and Hawkins. Let's face it, they're never going to get another win again. Lacey Evans and Natalya. I thought they were going to go 50-50 booking. I guess it just shows how irrelevant Natalya is to Vince McMahon. And then we get our other, basically long-term story of the night between the horsewomen of WWE, as they call themselves. 3 of them anyway. Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, and Bayley. Because Bayley and Becky are supposed to tag in the main event, I guess, against the women's tag team champions. Viking Bears have a squash match, and we get the King of the Ring quarterfinals between the two. Definitely Baron Corbin and Cedric Alexander was a very good match. I will say this, I like the fact Baron Corbin is wrestling in a tank top again. And also, Cedric Alexander, he is getting great TV time. He really had a really great match. I was very impressed with what they're doing. Apparently, Paul Heyman's very high on Cedric. So, Paul Heyman, so far, I approve his creative direction and his overall look on Monday Night Raw. It's definitely been better over the weeks. Not great, but better. And Baron Corbin, of course, I expected him to win because Baron Corbin is a Vince McMahon guy. Pushes him over as a ladies' machine, apparently. I still think that's stupid. Anyway, Sasha Banks challenges Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship Clash of Champions. Moving on from there, let's see, Ricochet, Samoa Joe. This was the stupidest moment of the night for me. Glasses off. Folks, when I take glasses off, I'm annoyed. Simple as that. So, you're telling me that you have the ref basically say that, okay, both men, shoulders were down, I'll take it under advisement. And instead of just giving a bye, you're just going to set up a triple threat match. The only reason I can see them doing this is because they want to protect Ricochet, because they're obviously not going to push Samoa Joe, and Baron Corbin's going to be put on TV no matter what, because Ricochet's a human highlight reel. And Vince loves seeing smaller people beaten up. Surprise, surprise. So now we got a triple threat, and everyone's bragging at this point were rendered irrelevant. So, Virtue, I guess, was right. Again, I'll admit it. I think this is stupid. I personally think Baron Corbin should have got a bye. But hey, I still believe that's going to be King Corbin, so at least he's still in it. I'll give it that. And then, of course, we get my favorite segment, the Firefly Funhouse, that not only pushes shots against the booking, creative direction, and overall outlook of WWE, led through Vince, but also gave some foreshadowing of what's to come. In my opinion, I think they're pushing The Fiend way too soon to the top, because if this truly is going to happen, then it's an obvious win. Unless you're going to do some huge swerve where you turn this to a triple threat after Clash of Champions for Hell in a Cell, where you somehow bring back Luke Harper. Or some reincarnation of one of his puppets. I don't know. Something's got to give here. I can't imagine them putting Universal title on The Fiend this soon, in a month and something away. I think, by the way, my favorite puppet from Firefly Funhouse, the Vince McMahon puppet. It's pretty damn funny. Cesaro, hashtag push Cesaro. He should have stayed in NXT UK. Gets jobbed up by Miz. Surprise, surprise. And then we get my surprise angle of the night. Bayley finally turning heel. We've asked for character change, it seems. And she's even said in interviews that she'd be willing to do it. And apparently they're going to go off this angle. I still ain't going to call her heel though until she changes her music, change her look, change her in-ring style, aka Io Shirai. This Raw, if I was okay, I gave it a B-. And am I looking forward to tomorrow night's Monday Night Raw? On a scale of 1 to 10, 3. Because here's the thing, and I'll talk more about that at the end, so stay tuned for that. Moving on from there, Tuesdays. I literally dedicate Tuesdays to one thing, SmackDown Live. Keep in mind, folks, I keep up with these every week, more so just watching them on the bus because I have unlimited data on my phone, because I'm not home till like 9:30 at night due to work and college classes, Mondays through Thursdays. That's how committed of a fan I am. Wrestling's just a part of me, what can I say? So SmackDown Live. We first, of course, get the follow-up with all the other horsewomen in this, where Bayley seems like the face, Charlotte's the ultimate heel, leader of Selfish Generation, Bobby Roode was that before you, Impact Professional Wrestling, TNA World Heavyweight Champion, but I digress. Anyway, Sasha Banks come out, Bayley and Sasha brutally attack Charlotte Flair. I wouldn't call it brutal. By the way, does Charlotte Flair look different to you? She must have something dumb with her body. Gee, I wonder why and what, but I digress. I must admit, Elias, he's been boring me lately with his in-ring style because he's just been Shane McMahon's bitch. But this match was very impressive. I still hate his music. And in the end, the heel went over the face. Ali, another small guy, former 205 star, has a 205 match. Great match, back and forth, good moments. I will say this, the crowd was also red hot this week for both Raw and SmackDown Live, it seems. A bit on them. But Elias, he moves forward and King of the Ring. I honestly thought KO was going to cost him the match here. I still think it's going to happen. Maybe it'll happen this week. Oh yeah, by the way, because I didn't mention the Women's Tag Team Champions, let's face it, after Raw, they remained irrelevant. So they tried to bring more relevancy back to them by putting them up against Fire and Desire, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville. Guess what, folks? They won, so we got a friggin' title match made on the spot. So Fire and Desire will face for the Women's Tag Champs. Okay. I will say this, I like the fact Randy Orton's going to the sadistic, vindictive heel idea, and it's putting the Revival more over, but I don't know how long this can last, and I don't want this being looked at as Legacy 2.0. And I have a great fear about this Tuesday SmackDown Live, which I'll talk about at the end. Chad Gable versus Andrade, I knew was going to be one of my ideal matches of this entire bracket. Chad Gable, former Olympian, he is freaking incredible. The fact they're using freaking short jokes as a story plot to him is freaking stupid. But I digress. I was really shocked, though, they actually let him go over Andrade, who I thought would be a top-tier star pushed towards the title picture. I guess he hasn't learned enough English. Hours of Black defeated Shelton Benjamin. Surprise, surprise, I've got Shelton Benjamin in the company. I don't know how I feel yet about the Shinsuke Nakamura Sami Zayn pairing, but we'll see what happens. I still think the IC title needs more relevancy. I honestly wish at this point it was back on heel Miz. There, I said it. 24/7 title is more over than half of the other titles on the entire brand. I can't believe that. And once again, R-Truth wins it. Let's just face it, R-Truth's going to go in the Hall of Fame with this title when his career is done, like Mick Foley did with the Hardcore. And then apparently, the worst storyline in recent WWE history finally reached a climax now where Eric Rowan decimating both Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan. Are they trying to turn Daniel Bryan face? Are we going to get Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan eventually? Is this a huge swerve and a recreation of the higher power storyline? Meh. Only time will tell. I truly do not believe they're going to push Eric Rowan unless, again, they do something surprising and bring back Bludgeon Brothers like Luke Harper, or somehow The Fiend comes into play here. Bottom line, Eric Rowan, they're literally just doing this to give Roman something because they don't know what to do right now, and they're not going to thrust Roman towards the WWE Championship picture. By the way, New Day WWE Champion has to end, in my opinion. Moving on from there, I watched 205 Live because hashtag 205 Live matters. 2 great matches I enjoyed overall, as always, because that brand never disappoints me. Yeah, I know. Shocking, right? Anyway, I have to say, out of the 2 matches, I think I did enjoy the main event more. The opening match was Mike Kanellis, Tony Nese. They had a great back and forth. Mike Kanellis finally picks up a win, much to Maria Nigel McGuinness's pleasure. Tony Nese falls further into disarray. And then, fast forward through, we get our main event between Lince Dorado and Roberto Carrillo. I thought they faced each other pretty well. I must say, I feel like the Lucha Libre style is the biggest influence on 205 Live. Because now we got a triple threat match this Sunday. But we also now have the reuniting of Tony Nese and Drew Gulak. I must say, I find this interesting. Those two have been there since day one. They have been against each other. They have been with each other through different incarnations of characters. So we'll see what happens here. We'll see if this is longer ploy. But I must say, the Cruiserweight title match is one of the matches I'm looking forward to the most. So now we move on to my Wednesday. First off, I enjoy Impact Wrestling. I enjoy the knockouts. One of my favorite knockouts, though, is the Bunny Alley. I watch Alley's Word every week because I enjoy this little mini-series they do, which encapsulates the overall friendship, different personalities of Rosemary, a.k.a. Courtney Rush, and Cherry Bomb, a.k.a. Alley, current AEW wrestler. And I just enjoy the series. I just find it a lot of fun, entertaining. Alley has an extremely fun, bubbly personality. One day I do want to go to the StarCast and meet Demon X Bunny. And I'm looking forward to what it continues. If you want something fun, basically, just watch this series, folks. You know, I really found it interesting how they really wrote off Alley from Impact Wrestling. That was one of the most cinematic, creative angles I've seen in a while. It seemed cheap and cheesy, but I enjoyed it overall, personally. But then you go forward into my Wednesday, and I go into NXT UK. And of course, this was a recap show, basically, about NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff, which was banging. Rhea Ripley, Piper Niven, though, they opened the show here in one heck of a rematch, and you guessed it, 50-50 booking, which means this isn't over, but personally I'm okay with that. 2 powerhouses of this brand. And in my opinion, NXT UK has the largest, deepest, most used, diverse brand in women's wrestling under the WWE banner. And I really enjoyed this match, and of course, Rhea Ripley, she won, of course, with the Riptide. Rhea Ripley has been incredible since her reincarnation from the Mae Young Classic, coming at this ultimate badass with the heavy theme too. And then we learn also that the grizzled young veterans are going to get their tag title match one-on-one. See how long the Welsh boys keep those titles. Zach Gibson, top tier star, man. James Drake, he's great in the ring, but I just don't see him as a strong promo. But Zach Gibson, everyone knows who he is. Everyone reacts to the guy. I don't have my shoes up. I respect the guy. And then the main event was supposed to be Jack Gallagher versus Cashzona, but I guess Jack Gallagher, undisclosed injury. I hope he's okay because he was challenged by Divine Kennedy Kills out for a tag match this coming Tuesday. We'll see what happens there. Anyway, it was Sid Scala returning to in-ring action, basically pulling off a corporate Kane, wrestling in business attire. Sid Scala can go, though. He had a great back-and-forth match against Cashzona, but I gotta be honest, I didn't see him winning. I wonder if this is a one-up or he's going to come back to in-ring action. But personally, I think he's been doing a great job as the assistant to the general manager, Johnny Saints. And that was pretty much this show in a nutshell. I'm curious, though, what's going to happen next for Tony Storm and Kaylee Ray. I'm glad Kaylee Ray is the champ. And also, I wonder if they are going to eventually introduce a mid-card title, because they need to build a mid-card first. But I'm curious what they're going to do with the Hunt and Gallus, and there's so much talent there. And then Eli Dragunov coming off an incredible match, but a huge loss against Cesaro. Even with mutual respect, though, I still think Cesaro should be competing more here. Which brings us to the best brand, in my opinion, overall in WWE, NXT. So NXT was first featured by Scott Steiner Sirens in the reinvented Fashion Police, Breezango, who actually feel like now their gimmick is policemen, even in their entrance. And they picked up a win against some jobbers, and then we get really a great showcase match in the women's division between Bianca Belair and Taira Conti. Big back and forth action. Taira Conti, she's definitely tweener, I think, right now. And Bianca Belair, she picks up some wins, some momentum. I feel like wins and losses actually do matter in NXT too. Also, we get more foreshadowing about Rhea Ripley and Shayna Baszler. It's funny, they're actually doing a heel versus heel type of match. That's not really a typical thing in WWE. But we'll see what happens. Velveteen Dream squared off against the finest Kona Reeves. Guess who won? Surprise, surprise. Velveteen Dream. I must admit, Velveteen Dream is definitely one of the top tier stars of NXT. But Roderick Strong sent the next message, burning his couch, and now we have the North American Championship match set up. And again, Roderick Strong's the only one left to fulfill the prophecy of the Undisputed Era, and I think it's going to come true, baby. Speaking of which, side angle, looks like we're still going to get more of Io Shirai and Candice LeRae, which makes me extremely happy. Those two have incredible in-ring chemistry. Candice LeRae is known for hardcore wrestling. I hope they do a no disqualification match between the two now. And then we go into our main event where it was Jordan Miles, NXT Breakout Tourney winner versus Adam Cole. And again, this was another great back and forth match. NXT consistently delivers with their main events. There's no stopping this brand. But Adam Cole leads by example. Sure, he's the heel, but he's cheered beyond belief. That's the way NXT works right now. The only one that really gets boos anymore in NXT is Shayna Baszler, and that's just because of her style. But again, I feel like Jordan Miles went over strong in this match. He gave a couple great spots for real near falls you could really sink your teeth into. In the end, Adam Cole won with the last shot. And pretty much those are my just foreshadowing of the WWE brand in general. Once again, I think NXT was the best thing this entire week. They'll actually be surprised by that, I will say. I like what they're doing with Breezango. I like what they're doing with their women's division. Adam Cole, baby, and the Undisputed Era are my favorite thing going in WWE overall today. And I'm looking forward to what they're going to do with Pete Dunne and Rhea Ripley in NXT now, since it seems like they'll definitely be working more there. I wonder who Shane Thorne's going to face now, too, especially after that call-out or cheap shot against Johnny Gargano, a.k.a. Johnny Wrestling. But I guess time will tell. And then you have to wonder what's next for Dominik Dijakovic, Matt Riddle, Killian Dane, and, of course, the limitless one, Keith Lee. They have a stacked roster. NXT is the greatest thing going in WWE today, in my opinion. It's their biggest strength. Anyway. So those are my flaws in WWE. Oh, by the way, I guess I should give a grade for SmackDown. There were still some stupid angles. About the same. I'll give it a B-. I don't really grade Wednesdays because Wednesdays never disappoint me. None of the three shows do. But I digress. And again, these are just some highlights and light spots for me because I'm just giving a simple rant. If you ever want more in-depth, let me know in the comments down below. Anyway, moving on from there, as I am a fan of wrestling, my Thursdays, they're usually more free, actually. So I dedicate it more to just independent wrestling, because I believe in independent wrestling, and I believe you should support independent wrestling. Local and beyond, folks. I think about my last experience at Extreme Chaos Wrestling, looking at Tim Horner Jr., Jason Page, Ace Austin, and so much more from Northwest Ohio Wrestling, and of course, staples outside Detroit, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and outside Toledo area too. If you get a chance to go to Extreme 5 in Toledo, folks, you will not be disappointed. Great promotion, great action. And they only have one title. And they go extreme. There's no rules, no countouts, no disqualification, anything goes. You win via pinfall submission. Shout out, by the way, to former Lady of No DQ, Jexy, and I hope you're doing very well. I hope to see you at Extreme 5. And also, now my Thursdays are highlighted to the roads to the next thing great in wrestling, AEW, which they're now doing the road to TNT. I love the fact that Tony Schiavone is doing this and taking more of a producer / broadcast role. I do hope he does get to do some commentary with good old JR soon, but we'll see what happens in October. Stay tuned. I'll be doing a AEW preview for the first episode as well. And that will be more in depth because I am all elite and in all the way to all elite wrestling. Because, folks, we have a war coming, a Wednesday night war. What will you choose, AEW or NXT? NXT will, of course, be doing their shows live on Wednesdays, but also AEW will at the same time. But the thing is, NXT will be on the network in full the following day. The first couple of weeks, though, which they're actually going to start up in NXT, I believe September 18th, they're going to do 1 hour on USA and the other hour on the network. Kind of like a little bit of experimenting. But I guess we'll see what happens there. I'm very curious. Of course, I'm going to keep it with both brands, though, because right now NXT and AEW are the biggest things that make me excited as far as the States go as a wrestling fan. I also watch Ring of Honor, and I look at their current roster, and they're currently touring in Mexico and doing Global Wars Espectacular, and they're preparing to do a number one contenders Ring of Honor Championship tournament. Curious to see who's going to win that. Curious to see if Matt Taven's going to be champ. He's going to be facing Bruce at Death Before Dishonor, who is undefeated right now. It hasn't been pinned or submitted. He's going to face him at Death Before Dishonor later this month. I'll be doing predictions on that. I wish I could say more about Ring of Honor, but the thing is, I don't have Honor Club because there's only so much you can watch and there's only so much money I have. And Ring of Honor is not live now until 18 days from now as far as recording goes. So you really got to watch this more somehow in your own time or like Google it or just watch results. I really wish there was more times in the day just to dedicate to watching wrestling. There's so much great wrestling out there. Anyway, moving on from there, of course, I also watch New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm currently following the Road to Destruction. I don't care if the commentary is in Japanese. I'm currently looking at the Young Lions Cup. I hope Shota Umino wins. He got a big win over Ren Narita. Two of my favorites in this. But I must say that Clark Coughlin or Carl Fredericks, they've been doing it very well. And I just got done watching Yuji Nagata's Wrestling Night 35th anniversary match because this was Blue Justice number 9 they put on today on the network. Great tag matches, great foreshadowing of things to come. I'm glad that Yuji Nagata got the win over Jado. Sorry, Bullet Club. And yeah, so I also watch Impact Wrestling. And the thing is, Impact Wrestling, I know people saying it's going to be on its last legs because I guess there's a problem with payments and they're not getting enough appeal, it seems. But you can't argue with the great action you get. Great send-off match for LIX after they lost to the North. Congratulations, Melissa Santos and Brian Cage in your engagement. I'm looking forward to Brian Cage versus Sami Callihan when that happens. And Tennille Dashwood versus La Vera Loca, Taya Valkyrie. And I must say, I'm very curious what the X Division Championship picture is going to do and how Moose and Ken Shamrock's going to be carried out. I feel like they're going to save that for Bound for Glory, but only time will tell. And then I look at Stardom, and they're doing their own thing, their own version of G1 Climax, where instead of Block A, Block B, they have red stars and blue stars, and they have, of course, 9 incredible female athletes in each block, basically seeing who could get the most points here. And basically, if I had to pick my finals match, because I do watch Stardom World here and there when I can, I really am a huge fan of Kagetsu, Bea Priestley, Asumi, Momo Watabe, and you gotta respect Mayu Itami, one of the veterans of this brand, and she even was former Ring of Honor Women's Champion. By the way, Kelly Klein, great champion. I hope they do face a rematch for Energy of Love, because it doesn't look like Energy of Love has the grapefruits to challenge you one-on-one, but that's just my opinion. So, if I'm gonna guess the finals for this, I am gonna go with actually the World of Stardom champion, Queen, Bea Priestley, current AEW signed wrestler, versus that's the tough one. It's got to come down to one of these two. I'm going to go with Momo Watabe because those two have incredible respect for one another, and I can see that happening. And that's pretty much my run. So let me go ahead and give my thoughts about what I think initially this week. This is Go Home Meet the Clash of Champions, right? Well, I'll be watching, of course, Clash of Champions. We're doing predictions on that as well. I feel like they're going to recreate 2009 on SmackDown with Kofi and Orton, do a beatdown name that will involve the Revival though and New Day. Personally, I hope Kofi loses the title this coming Sunday. That's just my opinion. I don't care much about Raw right now because they're just bringing in Stone Cold to bring ratings, unless The Fiend somehow gets involved and does something to Stone Cold, thus making him an uber heel, getting mega heat. I wonder what Joe Hendry's doing in Ring of Honor as well. And yeah, So there you go. That's just a simple man's rant in wrestling. This is what I watch in wrestling. This is just some thoughts I have on wrestling. This is me just talking about wrestling, writing about wrestling, and enjoying wrestling. I look forward to AEW All Out and more. Oh, sorry, Full Gear, excuse me. They already talked about the next pay-per-view. I look forward to AEW Full Gear, and I will be watching AEW every week. I'm just going to do a preview for the first episode. I don't think I'll do it weekly. I don't think I'll do an AEW review either. Depends on time with college and work. But yeah, that's all that's on my mind. I figured I'd just try something different. So let me know what you think of this. Like, share, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. Let me know your thoughts or any questions you might have on anything I watched in wrestling, anything I said, anything I didn't cover, anything in general, in the comments down below. If you want to know about more about me, know this. I'm just a simple man and a lifelong fan of wrestling. If you want to follow me and talk anything wrestling, look me up, nodq.com/Noah. It takes you to my Twitter page, or at nfoster1916. Or just follow this simple YouTube channel here where you'll get all sorts of recaps, summaries, reviews, recaps, predictions on all things wrestling here at youtube.com/user/Noah Foster 210. Support NoDQ, the reason I'm in YouTube. Buy a shirt, make a friend, make an enemy, troll virtue. Again, this is a rant. I'm keeping it extremely simple. And as always, I like to close. Support your wrestling outlets with big and small, and let's keep growing this incredible, diverse wrestling community together. Simple as that. With that, thank you for tuning in and listening. Again, let me know what you think of this. I might do this as a weekly thing or even a bi-weekly thing, personally, as I try and just do this simple rant in under 30 minutes in all things I watch wrestling. Raw, SmackDown Live, Being the Elite, Ali's World, Rhodes and AEW, Stardom, Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, Independent Wrestling, Support Independent Wrestling, folks, and whatever I feel like Googling on YouTube, whether it's Rev Pro, Beyond Wrestling, Rise, you name it. I'm a fan of wrestling, and once in a while I just watch random wrestling outside the normal scheduled wrestling. But with that, thanks again for tuning in. Thanks again for listening. Like, share, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. Let me know what you watch in wrestling. Let me know what you want me to talk about in wrestling or what I should check out in wrestling. And if you want more of this, let me know too. Should I change it? Should I shorten it? Should I focus on one particular brand? I want you guys to help me shape this and make this feel different every week. Stay tuned as well for me to elaborate with some great elite friends, as I will be doing the Elite of Wrestling podcast, led by my great friend Eric, who's going to go to Full Gear. Lucky! And so much more. Great guy. Follow me on YouTube at Neo Entertainment. Great conversations. And until the next video, whether on video, off video, audio, and video, NoDQ, beyond YouTube, or even Instagram if I choose to. Enjoy life. Enjoy wrestling. Tomorrow's never guaranteed. Treasure your families. Treasure the moments you can get and can make and are still to come. And until the next video, all hail King Corbin. Clash of Champions, excitement scale right now. 4 out of 10. I more care about Destruction, Road to Destruction, and the Destruction events coming up, and I'll be doing predictions on those too. And I'm going to check out Stardom as I can as well. And until next time, have a good night.